wide. We're up to, I think, around 60,000 members. But like Vancouver has a group going on right now. We're broke up into different areas throughout the state. So yeah, we don't have Thursday 6 o'clock, right behind Yobi's. It's a Republican headquarters,
Okay.
but we're only using it just because that's the only place we can use freely without.
We've done a number of these. Yes.
That's not my question. What happened in other counties is irrelevant to this case. The question is, there was no summons filed. In this case, my question is, how do I get personal jurisdiction over the LLC?
I believe Rule 65 gives you jurisdiction, the rule regarding temporary restraining orders and preliminary injunctions.
Court rules don't grant jurisdiction at the statutory council. The court rules require a summons. We started these.
How's the sound, guys? Can you guys hear good? You guys hear everything all right?
Well, we haven't filed a summons. We're correct about that.
Good seeing you, Betty.
So just
Sound check. Can you guys hear me?
Required, but I hear what you're saying, and if we need to do that, we'll use.
Well, I guess I'm asking you, would be and the analysis I did, because when this issue was raised, not necessarily a summons issue, but a jurisdictional service issue was raised at the very first hearing, and that obviously was a question. It was raised by myself when I inquired as to whether we had proper service, at which point I was advised that was not the case. And I did not find anything in the court file since that time, and I reviewed all the declarations of service that would indicate that that had been cured. In the process of that review, I discovered there was no summons, and so that caused a bit of concern. So I went and tried to figure out how the Illinois statute might create something that you didn't need that, didn't find that. That's why I'm asking you that question.
Okay, Your Honor, the Illinois statute that concerns proceedings such as this, the order of immediate restraint, and the proceeding that we're engaged in right now,
We are currently at the
says that the
Cowlitz
court
County Courthouse
has
in
jurisdiction
Kelso,
to grant
Washington.
injunctive relief or temporary restraining order pending the outcome of enforcement proceedings pursuant to this chapter. And that's
Correct.
RCW 4917. Pardon?
Correct, I understand that. I don't think there's any
Well, our
question.
position is that that's what established.
Well, the court has jurisdiction over the case upon filing the petition. I would agree with that, but that doesn't give me jurisdiction over the defendant. That just gives me jurisdiction over the case. You have to serve the defendant before you have any jurisdiction.
Well, they have been served with the papers. We did file declarations of service. But they have not been served with the summons. You're correct on that.
Well, they were not served with temporary restraining order.
There were.
No, they weren't. That was the issue.
We filed it.
Based on your declaration of service, they weren't served that order.
2 days ago, we filed a declaration of service demonstrating that they were.
2 days ago? Okay, sir, Michelle Kennedy. That's the one you're talking about?
Right, manager of the restaurant.
This is an LLC.
Your Honor, I do see a proof of service on the same dates, document number 41. I don't know the house.
Very clear, an LLC is a resident. This was the issue that came up the very first hearing we had. the summons issue is a secondary issue that came up as I was trying to prepare for today's hearing, and I was looking back to see whether we had jurisdiction over the defendant.
Well, the address for the registered agent is the same as the address for the restaurant. So we left it with a person of suitable age and discretion at the address of the registered agent.
Counsel only works if it's their residence, you know that. It doesn't work for a business address. So my real question here is, with a lack of summons, how do we have personal jurisdiction in this case over the LLC? It's a very simple question, and I haven't.
Can you guys still hear it? Okay, I had to move for service.
Well, our understanding, Your Honor, is that the WISHA statute confers that jurisdiction.
Over the defendant.
Correct.
Where does it say that? And I've got that statute in front of me. It says the court has jurisdiction over the proceeding, pretty clearly, like any case that's filed. I think the court can grant injunctive relief. That has no effect until it's properly served, though.
We will prepare a summons immediately and serve it on them if that's what is required, and it sounds as though it is.
Well, I believe that's just, that's what the court rules say, that's what the statute would say. In a civil proceeding, you serve an LLC by filing a petition or a complaint, and serve that and summons on the resident agent. That's how you acquire jurisdiction over the defendant. And if you go to the court rules, and I look down through those, and if a statute provides for an alternative document, such as a notice in lieu of summons, provided for in the statute. The statute says file a petition like many other statutes, which requires a summons. So, I think that's where I think the court has clearly jurisdiction to issue an injunctive order under the statute, but I don't think it has any impact until the court has proper jurisdiction over whoever it is that order is against. That's the concern I have. I just do this because it's a concern I have. Well, we had a show up there and grab some documents.
Currently talking to the judge and the attorney who is trying to close down Stuffys. They are arguing because so far the government has not gone through the process correctly.
The jurisdictional issue.
This is the second hearing where the government has failed to
Mr. Chelsea
do proper service.
apparently reserved those. So really, at this point, I don't believe I have personal jurisdiction over the LLC because there's not been a summons served. And I think that's where I'm at. I have read through all of the rest of the documents, and I don't know if we want to go ahead and get that resolved first and then proceed.
Can you guys still hear it clear enough?
Better way to go. And I'll leave that up to counsel.
If the court believes there isn't jurisdiction here, I'm not sure how helpful it would be to argue about the motion to dismiss on constitutional grounds, the standards for preliminary injunction, and whether there's bank contempt. I am prepared to argue about those things today, but from what you're saying, Ron, I think we should hear the jurisdictional issue before we get down into the substance of this.
Mr. Shelsky, what's your thought on that?
Thank you, Governor. And as you can tell from the documents we filed, jurisdiction has always been part of our question and our issue in this particular case. I think, and it's my client's understanding and belief, probably remedy the additional issue first, and then argue the merits and facts of the case thereafter. So I am in agreement with the state that I think we need to remedy the jurisdictional issues first before we argue this matter.
Okay. That would make sense to me to do that. Then we have a clean record to work with. As far as process-wise, do you want to? I mean, we could set another hearing today. I don't know how much time it's going to take to get those issues resolved, but or have you noted on, whichever your choice is.
I'd prefer to set a hearing in 2 weeks. All the briefing's been done. I expect we'll be able to serve a summons and complaint tomorrow.
So, Danielle, are you on there?
Yes, I'm here.
What are we looking at on the 18th-ish?
So we could come back the same time on the 18th, 1 o'clock.
Is there any? Let me take a look at that real quick. I think if we're going to do, I would prefer we set that at the 2 o'clock time.
Okay, we can do 2 o'clock as well.
Does that work for both council?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
I apologize. That does not work for my office. We're actually in a mediation on a separate matter on that particular day. But I am available in the morning on that day if that helps.
That morning, do we have courtroom availability or staffing availability on the morning that day, Danielle?
Let me just look here real quick.
And while you're looking, if we can start at 10 in the morning on the 18th, that works for us.
I do think that we could we could have a courtroom available for the morning.
Okay. So let's shoot for the 18th at 10 o'clock. Does that work for Mr. Chelsky as well?
Yes, Your Honor, that does work for us.
Okay. All right. One comment I'm going to make before we adjourn today, since we've got some things to work on. Counsel, I've reviewed through all the documents in this case. One thing I would strongly urge both parties to do would be to sit down and see if we can come to some sort of agreement on this case. I think everybody would probably be happier with that outcome were you to do that.
Very good, Your Honor. Thank you.
Yes,
Right.
yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
Very good. We will see you all on the morning of the 18th.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
So for those of you just tuning in and unaware of what's going on, so I was here for the first hearing. The state failed to serve the restraining order correctly.
All right. Well, there you have it. Of course. How many of you guys was hoping that judge would say, well, that's motion to dismiss then? Wouldn't that have been nice, right? And instead he wants those two lawyers to what? Try to work it out and not even use the court system. He doesn't even want to be able, because really if he made the right decision, you know, the government's not going to like that, but the people will love it, right? If he made the wrong decision, guess what? People aren't going to like it, right? I think we have more power, and I'm so grateful and thankful for each one of you guys that come out to show that we are the ones that have the most power here. He doesn't want to piss us off, right? Doesn't want to piss the people off. All right, we're going to hear from Michael now. Michael works for Stuffys. Michael, come on up and introduce yourself too. I'm so grateful and thankful. Every single one of you guys coming out every single time. I hope you're here next time, and that'd be awesome.
So my name is Michael. I've worked at Stuffys for 21 years. Bud and Glenda are like adopted parents to me. The case today, the judge absolutely embarrassed the Attorney General's office. Most powerful legal entity in the state. They have over 500 attorneys. They have almost 600 paralegals and other employees. They have an unlimited budget in every one of your pockets to to completely stomp on any business the governor tells them to stomp on. And they just got absolutely embarrassed in multiple points of failure in this case. They don't, the Hall mentioned CR 65 as if that's something they would follow. They violated CR 65 in about 10 ways. They don't care to follow their own court procedures. Clearly, they just admitted that in court. The judge has done more in this case than our attorney has. The whole thing is just, it's a giant level of fraud. It's an onion of fraud, the entire situation. I'll get a little bit technical. I don't want to blow it away, but 4306-220 is basically the power granted to the governor during an emergency. 4306-010 is basically the ability for him to declare an emergency. He can basically declare an emergency for anything he feels, and so that's fine. 4306-220 clearly lines out the legislative power given to the executive branch of the governor, and it completely has to do with riots, civil unrest, just chaos in the streets, removing red tape to make things happen easier. There's nothing in there that says it actually specifically says you can't cross constitutional rights. There's nothing in there that says you get to pick and choose what business gets to be successful, who gets to go to work, who gets to be on unemployment if they can even get unemployment. So the entire thing, I could go on about for 20 pages of information. He doesn't have the power. He has taken the power from the legislature. And de facto, L&I decides to jump in for a little power themselves. And so they pass a rule that literally says, because the governor says indoor dining is restricted, a business shall not have indoor dining. It doesn't really make sense. They can pass a rule to basically apply something that isn't even possible. And then the Liquor Control Board and ultimately the Attorney General, it's the entire thing is a sham. I have L&I is claiming in their documents that basically they're in this case because there's impending liability of death or financial liability, basically, which that's what they care about. They're an insurance company. The liability is impending. They don't, not only does the statute that they created, is it illegal and wrong, this is from the FAQ section of L&I's website about COVID-19. Can COVID-19 ever be allowed as a work-related condition? Under certain circumstances, claims from healthcare providers and first responders involving COVID-19 may be allowed. Well, that sounds pretty vague. Like if I'm a cook and I get COVID-19, is L&I liable? Which is what they're claiming. Here's another question: when will a claim likely be denied? When the contraction of COVID-19 is incidental to the workplace or common to all employment, the claim for exposure to and contraction of the disease will be denied. So that's a little more specific. You work in a restaurant, you get sick, you die, you get sick, you're hospitalized, you're injured. It sounds like they're not going to cover you. Further on the point, this is more information I got from the L&I's website. Total claims accepted, a combination of food service industries, almost 1 year time. 14 claims out of almost a year. I don't know about you, but it sounds like they're not going to cover you likely if you're in the food service industry. You absolutely know what's happening in this case. So yeah, I brought something to joke really special because I was talking to someone the other day, and it's kind of crazy that it's really special. I was talking to someone the other day, and they're like, "Wow, it's just crazy that you're, fighting for your job. You know, you're a cook. Like, that's a crappy job. Like, you know, they think because you're a cook, you're like, you know, you're some kind of, you know, not successful at life. But I tell you what, I am fighting for my job. I'm not fighting so that, you know, people say, why can't people just wait? You know, why do people have to eat inside? You can't eat in your car. You know, you can't eat at home. You know, we're not fighting for that. We're fighting for this right here. This is my paycheck from yesterday. This wouldn't exist if it wasn't for Bud and Linda. My job wouldn't exist. This is a big deal. You know, I go work and sweat in a kitchen, and I used to be like, oh God, I gotta go to work. Now I'm like, I get to go to work. Thank God for Bud and Linda. You know, I have a job that's holding my life together because of them, and it's insane. They don't get the right to tell you if you get to provide for your family, if you get to pay your bills, or if you're going to live on government assistance. That's not how I'm going to live. And you know, thank God for Bud and Linda for doing this. All the other restaurants have stood up for it. So we have a big thing that's getting announced. It's through Restore Washington. We have cards. Lanny has out. February 26th. We're every business 100% capacity. We have a lawsuit drafted that's being delivered to Jay Inslee today. Not filed, but it's being sent to him to tell him our intentions. We're opening the state the 26th. We're looking him in the eye. We're not being quiet about it. You cannot tell us what we can do. You're not our mothers, exactly. You know, everybody is just absolutely crushed. The entire, I'm not going to go into the country, but the state is absolutely crushed in every way. You know, go on and on and on. It's not, I was talking to Country Folks Deli owner yesterday. We were just going through stuff, and I said, you know what, it's not COVID-19 crushing your business. It's not people dying in the streets. There's not enough people alive to come eat here. They're too scared. You know, it's the restrictions. So part of the announcement that'll be happening today, and there'll be cards passed out to the 2 website addresses, will be the big reopening on the 26th. That's kind of the soonest we could make it happen. Ultimately, what's going to happen is more counties are going to open up at 25% capacity, and like that one place restaurant in Port Orchard, their county opened at 25% capacity, and L&I filed a motion to dismiss and drop the fines. And that's what they're doing across the board. If they were in the right, why would they continually drop the fines and quietly keep dropping everything? They know the entire thing is a house of cards. So, I'm inspired by the BOCC declaration that Arnie Mortensen right here and the county commissioners happened. He'll speak next. But this is like a non-legal, this other letter that I've written that will be going out to restaurants and business owners. We the people declare that the Constitution of the United States is the supreme law of the land. That no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. That all political power is inherent in the people, and governments derive their just powers from the consent of the governed and are established to protect and maintain individual rights. That the governor has manipulated the emergency powers granted to him by the legislature in RCW 4306-220. That the governor has weaponized the Department of Labor and Industries and the Liquor and Cannabis Board, 2 institutions designed to protect the state's employees, businesses, and citizens. That the governor has violated his oath of office. His oath of office is to protect and uphold the Constitution for all of us. That the governor has seized authority that is not allotted to the executive branch of government. He is de facto using the authority of all 3 branches, violating the separation of powers. That the emergency proclamations are not law. That the governor has not only abused his power and position, he has abused every Washingtonian state and federal constitutional rights. That the governor has seized power that he does not possess over our homes, our churches, our businesses, our jobs, our Businesses and restaurants that should open immediately, like today, right now. Any business and restaurant that can operate with L&I employees. Every business restaurant that does not have a liquor license. Any business or restaurant that can survive getting up their liquor licenses for a short time. And then every business and restaurant open 100% capacity February 26th. Follow whatever health guidelines you wish. Currently, license is a privilege. The Washington State Liquor and Cannabis Board is the fast weapon the state is using to compel business owners into submission to the unlawful restrictions placed upon them. Your liquor license can be threatened and then suspended for 6 months, making your business as good as closed if you require it. Currently, the best advice to hand over your liquor license when threats are made before any violations are noted against you. You can reapply for your license after the dust settles from this whole mess, which will be an easier process with no marks against you. L&I is the slow weapon of the state. It will likely take many, many months for them to effectively close your business. The fines imposed by L&I are ultimately being used to inspire fear and force compliance. Businesses that have stood against these proclamations and then ultimately complied have had their fines dropped. These proclamations are not law. You have not broken the law. There is a huge network being built to topple this repugnant power grab to support businesses. You are not alone. It's time to stand up for we the people. If we let this seizure of the power we currently possess go unchecked, it will continue and amplify. We will not be.
Is this any better?
Restaurants at zero indoor dining or 25% capacity, just barely making ends meet or usually losing money. We will not allow ourselves or our businesses to be declared non-essential. There has been no just compensation for the financial damage inflicted. We the people are not the victims of the situation. We choose not to be. The strength the state appears to possess is only an illusion. L&I is claiming as an excuse to explain their unequal enforcement. They are only responding to businesses violating the proclamations on complaints filed. When you stand with the people and say no to the proclamations, show courage. Email L&I and report yourself. Send them the We the People Declare Declaration with the subject, I protest L&I. It does not have the authority to destroy my business. Give them your name, address, and place of business. Print your email complaint. Display I'm proud to be in your business. Show your community I am not afraid. Notice that COVID-19 is not presented as the issue here. It is not the issue. It is the law, and ultimately it is the Constitution that is the issue. Open your business and follow whatever recommendations you see fit to protect your employees and customers. Let's not live in crisis, let's live in courage. And then I have a quote from James Madison. Crisis is the rallying cry of the tyrant. Commissioner Arnie Morrison. And,
is this any better than it was previously?
We got to support this guy. He's here for us. He's here to protect our constitutional rights, and he believes in it. He's not just doing it for service. We really appreciate him. Give him a hand.
It's a downside to iPhones. Microphones don't do well.
Anyway, we'll discuss that later. Yes, exactly. I'm going to take it to a slightly different spot, and then I have this prepared speech over here, which I'll jumble up eventually. We have to be very careful. We've all been indoctrinated here. While we've had good speakers with excellent integrity, we have questions already admitted something that we should do. For example, the incident on Friday, the question was, well, there was a concern about the illness. That's irrelevant to the fact that it's a direct violation of everything. The COVID vaccine arguments are the same thing. The issue is not is it a good vaccine or a bad vaccine. The issue is it's my body, I decide. So the moment we allow ourselves to acknowledge that is this a good thing or a bad thing, well, after 100 years or so is where we are here today. So I'm just asking people, be very careful at what you ask, because typically it will be used against you. And there is a holistic view of time and space, and we have violated a lot of things for our personal convenience. And I'll talk about that in a moment or so. First, I want everybody to know that you are my employers. I'm your employee. I really appreciate the guidance from the employers. We need more employers to show up and guide. I take it as a matter of pride. You don't have to guide me specifically. You do have to guide me specifically, but in principle you do not, because I embrace the Constitution. I don't need somebody, I've never needed in my adult time, somebody to tell me what is right and what is wrong. And one of the reasons to hire a politician is not because they sing well or any of that other relevant stuff, but they will make policy decisions which are not based on emotion, they're based on principles of this nation. So, let me see where I am here now that I've digressed enough. So, I had mentioned we've been off for about at least 100 years. We've been doing all kinds of things that are not legitimate. The failed confirmation hearings for Justice many years ago, he was interviewed after those hearings and asked about the Supreme Court. And he said the decisions of the last 100 years of the Supreme Court were desecrated largely illegitimate. Earlier ones, or recent ones, but nevertheless illegitimate. The point there is that we decide, we the people decide here what is right and what is wrong, and only guide the principles of the Constitution. We are told by entities that I don't even know that only they can decide what is constitutional. We've got to resist that. When you saw what happened here, it is a victory, but it's a Pyrrhic victory possibly. What it really means is we were nitpicking the law, avoiding all the principles just to say, well, you didn't follow proper procedure. Guess what's going to happen the next time? They will have proper procedure. We're going to play this dance around game, and guess who's paying for that? All right. So let me go to that theme. If I can stop shaking from the cold and the trauma of public speaking. So, politicians have violated constitutional principles and moral principles for over 100 years, and we have let them do that. Worst of all, we told government that they can have our kids, and they can tell us how to raise them. You know, for all the good intentions.
So if I plug my microphone in, it's crackly, and if I don't have the microphone plugged in, then all the other noise is going.
Exactly.
Which one's worse?
What does government teach them in the government schools? That government is great, and you have no responsibilities, and parents are to be turned in for aberrant behavior. Let me digress here for just a moment. Many, many years ago, I had the good fortune, in this case it is fortune, I met a fellow who was a member of the Soviet Union Communist Party. And at that time, it was about 20 years ago, we became good friends, and he was a very, very knowledgeable, intelligent individual. And he was appalled when the then U.S. Attorney General Janet Reno was asking kids to turn in their parents. He also told me at that time that he was amazed because Pravda, the communist paper there, would have been proud and was subordinate to the propaganda machine we had here. Has it gotten any better, folks? Clearly not. It's really worse. We all have the information where Facebook and all those other things are squashing information that they find inconvenient. So, how do I know what's going on. And
It's annoying.
It's because all of us are afraid of the government. And our founding fathers knew that if you're afraid of the government...
Spiffy's actually closed.
The government is
They
afraid
closed
of us,
down.
we have freedom. You know what we want, and it was said here a couple of times, we need 10 times the number of people we see here. When Mike puts the business cards out there, we need to do
This is another restaurant that opened up.
To that is the people. We can't just stand around and let people do that. Now, there's some important issues. Yeah, I think it was Thomas Jefferson said something like the tyranny of today's case would be 535 people is known as a tyranny. Just because 535 people...
Stuffys had their first court date weeks ago. The state failed to process correctly. They didn't serve correctly. And then they served again. And then yesterday, actually, they served again yesterday. And they had the court date again today. And it was... they also screwed up again a second time, a third time, and so now they have to wait 2 more weeks to have their day in court again.
We have to go ahead and press all the time. If you see anything that even resembles a violation, people react. So, Joel McIntyre, our representative from the 19th, big stuff. I heard him speak 2 days ago, and he started out.
I have about 700,000 people that I put this in front of.
Good.
In the state or the
Global.
nation? Is it a certain organization or just you?
Just to give you an idea of some of the nonsense that's going on.
The Common Sense Conservative. It's on YouTube and Facebook.
You live in Lawrence?
I live south of here, Illinois.
Where can I get one of those flags? It's one of my own guys.
This one?
Around me, yeah.
I got this one off Amazon.
I'm old school. I go to stores still.
I tried finding them in stores, and it's hard to find nowadays.
Oh, wait a minute.
They consider this hate speech now. This is it's racist.
Well, the Democrats do.
Yeah, exactly.
They're the ones that are racist.
Yep.
And taking away our freedom of free speech. Well, and if I were to say this to anyone else, I might end up in jail. Or I end up being clubbed and tried. You know what the definition of teaching is in the dictionary?
I used to say it all the time. It's an ignorant, right? Yeah. Yeah, an ignorant person.
So that has nothing to do with 400 years ago. My grandparents come over and they were indentured servants too. Don't get me wrong, but it's just the country has fallen hard. Well, stick in there and keep up the good work.
Thank you.
We have a Super Bowl this weekend. Let's see about our neighborhood. Today, I assess that we're on the old 2-yard line. The goal is a righteous America, a constitutional America. That's 98 yards away. There is no Hail Mary or easy button to get there. There's just dedication, hard work, constancy to get the parents in their face. Now, there is some bad news too. The referees...
Wait, you guys not seeing me right now? What's happening? Hey, before you leave, if you guys live in Washington State, make sure you guys go to Olympia on Saturday at noon. If you can hear me.
If we complain like Stuffys has done, well, that's another penalty. And it goes on. We must not let that happen. If we get pushed back into the end zone, game is over. All we have now is ourselves. our morality and the founding history is an enviable world. It is the time for us to live up to those American principles. You and I will determine
Yeah, I'll be live streaming in Olympia on Saturday for sure. I'm going to try to get a better microphone. I don't know how this one here sucks. So bad. It's rather frustrating. This is my second one. Time for number 3. Hopefully I can find one cheap enough. YouTube's killing me.
We got the owner of Ling Ling. She's gonna come up a little bit longer, you guys.
Reaper picture, like I don't know if you've done it or not already, but YouTube put out a email to all creators saying that they, you know how like you hit the bell and it says personalized. If you don't hit all, you won't ever see anything from my channel again. Yeah, good times. And also make sure you hit that Telegram thing. I should start posting on there maybe that I'll start, go live. Like I'll put a notification on there maybe, I don't know. But yeah, if you're not on Telegram yet, do it. Do it.
Customers, we don't have revenue or capital. Without the revenue and capital, I can't support my family, and most of all support my employees. We're trying to do the same thing. I'm not big on the law or the clever thing. I just know what's going on is completely unconstitutional bullshit. It's not okay. I am a single mother. I am considered an immigrant from a foreign country. And so for the Constitution to not be upheld, where my life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness cannot be upheld, that way I can support my family and run my business and serve all of you, something needs to change. And this group needs to be 1,000 times bigger than what it is now.
True story.
Everybody needs to speak up. So yes, supporting Stuffys and supporting this cause, I will open my doors 100% for open dining.
I have a quick thing I want to say. Everybody here should be trying to get 1, 2, 3 more people.
So what he's saying is, I can barely hear myself, but what he's saying is every single person here needs to be talking to 1, 2, or 3 other people, bring them with them, have them bring 1 or 2 or 3 other people. Just the fact that there's not very many people here, it's our fault, essentially, for not bringing more people. That lady who was talking, her restaurant is Ling Ling Restaurant. And she's going to be opening her doors.
All right, you guys want to go we're going to...
Which what that dude was saying, it's a true story, guys. Like, in Olympia, like, if you got numbers, look what...
All right, so there's a people's rights
just bring people. Bring people.
For Cowlitz County.
People's rights meeting tonight, 314 Academy Street in Kelso, 6 p.m. Come on out. We'll be talking about this, some other things too. So the other thing is, real quick, we set up a text messaging. So if you get out your cell phone, if you're interested, that's at the meeting tonight too. But you text capital RSC, those 3 letters, to 209-671-8697, and you'll be signed up for the text message list that we started, so we can advertise the local businesses that are going to be open on February 26th, 100%. So we're going to go over that tonight at the meeting. If you didn't catch that, come.
Out here, everybody. Continue going to Stuffys, good food. It's warm in there. It's warm in there, guaranteed. You guys want to go lay on those horns before we leave? Let them know that we're here. You guys want to do that? Let's do that again. At least a minute, you guys. Go lay on your horns, please.
All right, well, they're doing that. Just want to show you guys a couple things. I was handed this today. What? People's Rights. It's a national group, national organization. Essentially, a bunch of people is trying to educate others on the Constitution, your rights as an American, and so on. Kind of standing against the tyranny that we are currently facing in this country. And then this website here is being launched tonight. So if you guys want to check that out, if you're a Washington resident, go ahead and check that out tonight. All right. Well, that's that for this shindig. Space Frog, I know most of these people. I've seen them around anyway. Their main thing is just opening up the states, opening up this country. Like, I don't think anybody at this point is really denying that COVID is like, an actual virus. Because, I mean, sure it is. I mean, I got it, so I can't deny it. But the thing is, though, is that liberals always love to say, follow the science, watch the science. That's their whole basis for global warming, right? The science, even though it's kind of like funky science. But, it's all about science, right? And they use that for everything. It's science. Well, the science states that schools should be open and restaurants should be open because they're not spreaders. So that's what the science actually says. So the fact that we're like having this conversation is ridiculous. And that's what most of these guys, these organizations are doing, or trying to do anyway. Not a thing. I'm like, okay, well, I mean, it is. People have died, because it's, giving them some complications. But it's not like, smallpox. It's not like some of these, Ebola. It's not even comparable to those. And that's where people start getting irritated. Like, people might not agree with the severity, and that's fine. I mean, I don't agree with the severity of COVID. I think COVID's when I had COVID, it was like I've had colds that are worse. I mean, it wasn't enjoyable. Don't get me wrong, but so like we have to, as a people, as Americans, as human beings, we need to start talking a little bit more with truths instead of absolutes and taking stuff too far one way or the other. Sitting there saying that COVID is a nothing burger, it's a little far, because for older people, it is something. You know, for people who already have like big problems, you know, medically, yeah, it's the straw that broke the camel's back for a lot of people. But you know, but it's also not Ebola. So there is that. So before I end this thing, let me turn this here a little bit. You guys can still hear me okay, I think. All right. So I wanted to say a couple things really fast in regards to Olympia on the 6th. So it's really important, guys. It's really, really important to bring people. It's really important also to police yourselves. It's important to police people. If you haven't seen it already, I know there's only like 50 people watching right now, but if you haven't seen it already, check out the video I did talking about conspiracy theories. I'm actually really surprised that I didn't lose any more subscribers than I did, because I know a lot of people really subscribe to Q and all that good stuff. But yeah, so but on the 6th, like, the goal is not to get arrested. The goal is to commit an act of free speech. The goal is to commit an act of your First Amendment constitutional right, to show up, bring people, be peaceful, and don't give them an excuse to arrest you. And if they do arrest you for peacefully assembling, well, that's a problem, isn't it? That's a huge problem that people need to see, and then maybe they'll go, oh, hey. Now, I know a lot of people are really afraid right now. I know a lot of people heard about how some of these Proud Boys have started to get arrested. Rufio, the Seattle Proud, he got arrested today, which is weird that he got arrested now. He got arrested today, and people are starting to sit there and go, hey, look, see, look what happened. Look what happened. This is happening to all of us. They're all false flags. Now, I don't know the story. I don't know, you know, Rufio's involvement with the 6th or anything like that, so I can't speak on that at all. I know that a lot of people are, you know, kind of just laying low and trying to stay under the radar. But the fact of the matter is that if you didn't do anything wrong, if you were in DC and you didn't do anything wrong, if you were in DC and you didn't go in the Capitol or kill a cop, which is the vast majority of people who are in DC, I think, yeah, stop worrying about it. There needs to be more people showing up. I've actually had people reach out to me when I first started talking about this event from Baltimore, from other parts of the country, Texas, saying, hey, this should be a national thing. Let's show up to the Capitol, you know, and get arrested and commit an act of free speech. Again, the object is not to get arrested. The object is to have 1,000, 2,000, 10,000, 100,000 people show up and go, hey, stop treading on me. Stop taking away our rights to free speech. Stop taking away our freedoms. Stop taking away our right to assemble. Stop hindering our access to our legislators when it is our constitutional right to be in contact with our legislators. Emails, most of them don't get answered. Letters hardly ever get answered. The only answers that happens is when you go, hey, I'd like to talk to you about something. Oh, okay, cool. Let's do that. Or even better, when there's you know, hey, Washington State guys, open carry is now going to be a felony if this new proposed bill gets through. And if you want to think that, oh, Washington State's a left coast state, it's a blue state, the crazy communists took it over, Sure, that's true. But crazy communists are taking over other states. Look at the mass exodus. Look at the mass exodus from Washington, from California, from New York, from New Jersey. They're going to red states. That's what they're doing. They're coming to your state, America. They're coming to middle America. They're coming to you because you guys in your red states have just created this wonderful bastion of freedom, because you guys have created this opportunity and you've created this constitutional haven. Good job. Good job. You've created bait, and now, you know, the sharks are coming. Yeah, there's a train. You know, but so don't think that it's not going to happen in your state. You need to start showing up. Even if you live in the reddest state in the country, if you live in Wyoming, go to your state capital and go, hey guys, the tide's coming. The tide's coming. We need to put some safeguards in place right now while we can. We need to look at these states that have already fallen or are about to fall and fix this stuff before it's too late. You need to start showing up before it's too late. You need to start educating people before it's too late. The most important thing I think I said in my video talking about the 6th and talking about the conspiracy theories and stuff was at the end. Make sure you listen to that part. It's about the revolution. All these people talking about, you know, let's go start shooting. Let's go start doing that. Civil war, civil war. The revolution didn't start with a bullet. The revolution started with people going out and educating others. That's how it happened.
And it happens by people getting together and using a little common sense and standing up for others that, you know, everybody has a right to decency, right?
That's right.
To, and decency being, hey, I'm going to be respected and I get treated decent as a business. Now, if I walked into Stuffys, is that what you're here?
Yep.
If I walked into Stuffys and they were slingshotting boogers into my food or something, you know, you might want to clamp down on them. But if they're just doing normal business, right? Normal business, everything's clean, they wipe stuff down, they got their masks on and everything, and you're going to fine them for treating people like humans? Instead, would you really want Stuffys to push people out onto the outside world in the middle of the flu season, right? in the cold, the moist, the rain, probably, you know, because if you know anything about particles, if a truck goes by and all that stuff gets stirred up off the street and gets thrown into the air, it's going to go where? Into the tin or whatever they've set up.
That's right.
Complete nonsense. You have to be an idiot, according to Dan Bear. You have to be an idiot if you think that's safe. Come on.
That's right. It's true. It's true.
So anyhow, if you know anything about particles or whatever, the worst thing you can do in flu season, right, is throw people on the street.
Yep.
You've got to be in a tent.
Yep.
It's just a complete nonsense. So anyhow, my name's Dan Bear. What's yours?
Robert Zerving.
Robert Zervik, are you documenting the craziness?
Yep, you bet.
Okay, and I just hope wherever this goes that people will put their name on the line. They'll stand up for good businesses, honest businesses. They're just trying to do the right thing, and let people make up their own mind. If they want to dive, if you want to put on 5 masks and dive under a tent, you know, or dive under a desk because there's a virus floating around,
right?
Do it.
It's your choice.
Yeah.
It's your freedom to do that. If you want to live in fear, you are free to be afraid. You are free to do what you want to do.
But it's also, and I've got more recordings on here that I could play, probably to the point of boredom. But once you start bringing a little common sense, logic, truth in facts, right?
Yep.
And you start bringing that uncensored to the public, they may turn around and say, what kind of bullshit have we been putting up with?
And that's what I'm trying to do. You bet.
Well, good man. Take care.
Thank you, you too. Where was I? Yeah. So the revolution did not start with a bullet. The revolution started with people protesting. The revolution started with people going out in the streets and propaganda and pamphlets and people educating people on freedom. People educating people on taxation being bad and having no liberty and no anything. That's how the revolution started. Didn't start with a bullet. If it started with a bullet, guess what? Nobody would have joined. Nobody would have joined the Patriots. There wouldn't have been a Patriot Army. There wouldn't have been militias that were put up. It would have been a couple guys that nobody would have known. Nobody would have heard about them. And that's what is going to happen in this country. If a couple idiots go out there and start doing something stupid and start saying stupid crap, they're going to either end up in jail or dead. I'd prefer, we don't get to that point. I'd prefer that we start at zero and work our way up. You got to educate people. You got to teach people what freedom means, what's actually happening in this country. If you don't, well, there you go. And, Reaper just said they're demonizing conservatives so bad right now. If you're a conservative, you're an extremist. Cool. I'm all right with it. I'm sure I'm on a list. Ghost, what am I teaching that is BS? Please, educate. I'll wait. I'll sit here, and I know there's a buffer point, and I'll be more than happy to sit here and wait for you to correct the historical record on me teaching BS. Oh, wait. It's all right. So you're saying the revolution started with a bullet? Because that's just... It started with the shot heard around the world. Good job, Ghost. Oh, I'm so proud of you. Your public school education is astounding. The problem with that, however, is that there was a lot of stuff that happened before that shot heard around the world. There's a reason there were people lined up to stand against them. There's a reason that people got there. There's a reason people stood up and that there was a shot in the first place. What was that reason? Why did that happen? Go ahead. Come on, tell the class. Tell the class how there was a group of guys standing up against a group of redcoats. It was just because there was a shot. It was just because there was a shot. Stop it. We might be on the same team, but I'm not going. I have a hard time with just silly. It's silly. It is so silly. I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm sorry. I apologize if I came off rude. But I mean, it's stuff that all of us, everybody, every conservative, every common sense individual needs to start correcting the record. It's like, if you have people going out there talking conspiracies, correct the record. Be like, cool, none of that happened. JFK Jr. never showed up at the Trump rally. Remember that? Hillary Clinton Hillary Clinton is doing podcasts, so she ain't in prison. That's why I felt I had to do that video, because still to this day there's people commenting on some of my videos about don't give up, Trump's still going to be president, and it got to me, so I had to make that video. If you haven't seen it, watch it. I enjoyed part of it, but it really needs to happen. Planning at the bars in the Tea Party and Boston Massacre, violence started it and violence ended it. No, the planning at the bars happened before the violence. The violence, sir, my good sir, the violence started from the redcoats. The violence started because people spoke out against the king. Violence started from the government, just kind of like what's happening now. But you have to educate people on why the government is wrong, or else you don't get an army. You don't get a revolution. If people don't know that they need to start getting up and doing stuff, that's it. That's the thing. Anyway, so I'm going to go home. I'm going to go do stuff. I'm going to go get ready. But if you live in Washington State, understand, guys, that your rights are being taken away daily. And, don't sit there and wait. I had a friend of mine that said, well, it doesn't affect me personally, so I'm not. Am I back? I hope I'm back. Yeah. So on the 6th, main thing is no violence. Don't be violent. Be peaceful. Civil disobedience is peaceful protest. Civil disobedience is peaceful protest. I'll say it one more time. Civil disobedience is peaceful protest. If you are told that you are not allowed to go and speak, if you are not allowed to go and assemble peacefully, go assemble peacefully. Peacefully. As soon as you break a law, you have nothing to stand on. If you see people starting to break the law, take care of them, make them go away. I mean, we have to start playing smart. We have to start doing the right thing. We have to start getting her done. Washington State, we're going to lose your right to open carry. It's going to be a felony if you are caught open carrying. We don't have the right to assemble on our Capitol. That's a problem. We need to deal with it. So before I go here, Jack said, is there smelt in the cowlets? No. These you guys see right there is cowlets. There's no smelt. We had sea lions a little while ago. About a week ago, we had a bunch of sea lions, but no seagulls. So I'm assuming that the sea lions are following the steelhead up the river, and they'll be back because there's no seagulls. I went to the coast last week, and there's no seagulls at the coast either. So they're all up in Puget Sound right now, chasing the smelt over there. So hey, look, a little something non-political, a little outdoorsy stuff there, huh? See, I'm not just a one-trick pony. Talk about all sorts of different things. But right now, I gotta get going. I got stuff planned today. So thank you all for being here. Thank you all for watching. If you have not already hit that bell and made sure you hit the all notifications, do it now because you won't see another video if you don't. As Reaper, who's one of the moderators on my own channel, just found out. And make sure you guys go to Telegram. Link is in the description. That is your surefire way of seeing all the content, memes, stuff like that. So thank you guys for hanging out. The rally was small, should be bigger. Hopefully I will see all of you who are local within, a 3-state radius showing up in Olympia on the 6th. See y'all later.